What's up, YouTube? Just got back from a fourth place. We didn't play out. Placing at a Switch tournament. Playing Gladiator Beast. I think about 40 players showed up. I ended up winning this first edition secret rare. Is this German? German Goblin Zombie. Yep. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully try to sell that for some decent money. That'd be nice. But let's just go right into the list. I'm going to talk about the list, and then I'm going to go over some of the matchups I had and, you know, cards I thought. But I'm going to start with the list because that's what people come for. I played 3 Test Tiger. Best card in the deck, in my opinion. Just absolutely made everything work the way you want it to. With that, I play the 2 Same Knights, and this creates basically my Rescue Cat package. Sam Knight opens up the ability to go Rescue Cat into double Sam Knight, which is by itself a Gyzaris. Or I can go Sam Knight Test Tiger into Secutor, which is, again, its own, it can potentially be its own fusion, either fusion, Heraclinos or Gyzaris. So double Sam Knight was really good. I will continue to play this, and I'd recommend everyone play this if you aren't already playing it. Double Laquari. Laquari, obviously, just good for the pressure it creates. 1800 is the most important step. That 21 is huge to get off. Here's an interesting one. I did main deck the 2 Rediari, and it came up a lot. Having multiple Rediari in my deck allowed me to several times go Gyzaris into double Rediari, so blow up, you know, Blackwing monsters. I played a Light Sworn matchup. Dragons, plants, didn't matter. And then going into Rediari to blow up or remove from play 2 targets for a Debris Dragon, or I think I removed a couple of Vayus throughout the day. Definitely removed some Shuros and Boros and things like that. 2 of these main deck, very good. Very, very good. I'm not upset when I draw them because they also dodge Bottomless Trap Hole. So highly recommend, if you're not already on main decking 2 Rediari, try it out, main deck 2 Rediari, because it is a very powerful play. And in my opinion, Rediari is the second best regular Gladiator Beast monster, just because of its disruption. Outside of this Gladiator Beast, Equesti. We all know what Equesti does, and Equesti's ability just to recur advantage that you might have lost throughout the game really allows you to play in certain cards. For example, if you open up Equesti with 2 traps, one of them being War Chariot, you can set, or if you don't open up the Equesti, but if you open up the Gladiator Beast and then 2 traps, War Chariot's one of them, you can set both the traps, and you don't really fear Heavy Storm because you know later on you can grab that War Chariot back. So you can turn that Heavy Storm, which was a 2-for-1 at one point, into a 1-for-1. So that's extremely important. And Equesti, obviously, recurring Gladiator Beast cards is really great. I actually liked it at its peak for its ability to recur Heraclinos discards, is what I really got a lot out of it throughout the day. I don't know if I did some War Chariot recycling for sure, but definitely its ability just to give me more Heraclinos fodder was incredible. And then the one-ofs. 1 Secutor, kind of a non-factor today. I'll continue to play because I'm a firm believer that if you're on a Rescue Cat, play the 1 Secutor. I play 42 cards right now, so drawing into it doesn't happen too often, I want to say, but I definitely seem to draw it a lot yesterday. But still, you know, it's 1 card. I think the ceiling of Secutor is much better than the floor of Secutor. 1 Murmillo. Gosh, Murmillo is so good. Murmillo is so good. So one of the major plays that you'll see when it comes to my side deck is I do side deck 2 hedge guards. So if they just, it happened, I'll talk about in the matchups, but it happened where they just tag a monster, hedge guard, and then just tag out into Murmillo, blow up their only monster, swing, tag out for bestiary, destroy something else. You're suddenly up like, what is that, 1 or 2 cards, I believe, because you also drew for turn. So Murmillo allowed me to quickly spiral a little bit of advantage into a lot of bit of advantage, if that makes sense. The 1 hop, it was good main deck. A lot of times I go into hop just to avoid the brain control, so Laquari hop just avoids brain control and helps avoid it. 1 Darius, I'm only on 1 Darius because I believe 1 Darius matches up really well to the 1 Prisma that I run. I don't want to run more than 1 Prisma because Prisma's too susceptible to back rows in a deck that is already very back row susceptible, if that makes sense. And while Darius is good and being the second highest attack, 1700 is not super important. But whenever Darius got removed, whether it be bottomless, deep prison, or whatever, I didn't feel anything. I thought, well, at least it wasn't my one bestiary. So I did play, obviously, the one bestiary. And then we go into some more monsters, being the one Rescue Cat, the best card in the deck. No doubt about it, it's just the best card in the deck. One Prisma, kind of a pseudo Rescue Cat, pseudo bestiary, does similar things. So I do like the one Prisma. It definitely helped out a lot. I do recommend playing run Prisma. I would never run more, and I could even see myself running less, but one Prisma definitely did really well. It did what it was supposed to do with the Test Tiger combos. If I had a Gladiator Beast on field, I could just summon it, and then I had Bestiary now engrave for Gazar's Fusion, and then follow up with Darius or Quest to add it back to hand, whatever I want to do. And then the card that actually, this won me a few games. I did main deck one Gores. Gores was a card that, no, had they destroyed or played through my back row, or if I could just really kind of feign that I had a bad hand and just set one Dust Tornado or whatever it might be, and then they attack and I just drop Gores, it really took over a lot of games. I know it made certain situations extremely difficult for other players to play around, just because it's obviously a new 2700 with token, but not only that, it's just something no one expects in a Gladiator Beast deck. I do believe that a lot of my matches I just won simply because players don't know how to play against Gladiator Beast, which, hey, their fault. Good, bad on them, good on me. So if you are going to play Gladiator Beast or thinking about it, I do believe now's the time, because a lot of players, they don't know enough about the deck. And even if they do know about the deck, they don't know how to telegraph future situations. So I remember one of my matches, I told someone, hey, give me a second to think about this. I have to kind of imagine what I want the board to look like 2 turns from now, was my exact statement, because we both had about 5 or 6 cards total. I think I had 2 cards on the board. But I had to sit there and think about, based on what I know of their hand, what do I think their play is going to be next turn? And then my following turn, 2 turns from now, what do I want my response to be? Changes what kind of Gladiator Beast I go out into. And so, that is something that not a lot of players are able to telegraph, especially if they don't know much about the deck. They aren't able to look at it and think, oh, if I deprison this Gladiator Beast over some other Gladiator Beast, I'm going to prevent this tag in, vice that tag in, which leads to certain plays. And that's kind of where the game's really spiraled out of control for a lot of players, was they just couldn't do that. Going on to the spells, 3 Book of Moon, best card in the deck. It does everything for the deck. 1 Shrink, I did like it. I did find myself also siding out a lot. If I ended up cutting Shrink, I would get it, but I understand if you cut it. But the 1 Shrink, it did what I wanted to do, to get over stuff and dodge bottomless and things like that. And 1 MST. And that's it for the spells. And then going on to the traps, we have 3 Dust Tornado. I chose Dust Tornado over Trap Stun simply because I valued the ability to legitimately remove a threat much more than the ability of Trap Stun to delay a threat. So it worked out extremely well. Dust Tornado at 3 was a great card. I will say there were 0 frog matchups. I think I played every other top deck. Did I? I played 2 heroes. I'll get into that afterwards. No, I didn't play any frogs, and I also didn't play any pure Vayu, like Vayu Turbo. I wish I had, because I think Vayu Turbo is one of my best matchups. Frog's also a really good matchup. So some of the matchups, the heroes were tough, but Dust Tornado really helped to equalize a lot of those matchups. Triple D Prison, debatably also the best trap. This card being able just to set and then 1-for-1 Black Wings or just general big monsters, we know what it does. 2 Compulse, similar to D Prison. At one point I almost saw myself wanting to play 3 Compulse. I just went with the 2, mostly because I don't have a 3rd super. But Compulse was super good. It was super good. Just returning stuff. I did find myself siding out a lot because, again, I played a lot of heroes and a lot of Black Wings. I did side out at least 1 each matchup, and I think sometimes I sided out 2, just depending on user bias of how good they were early game or late game. And then something I changed. So I originally was playing main decking My Body's Shield and side decking these, but I just went ahead and just threw it in the main deck. I talked to someone who's playing in the Ribbit, and they were main decking double Starlight Road, and I just asked them, I said, how'd Starlight Road do for you? And whoever, I don't remember who it was, shout out to you. They said Starlight Road was awesome. So I just went for it. Main deck double Starlight Road. Sometimes it was dead, but then other times, I got a Black Rose with it. I got a couple of Heavy Storms with it. When I activated the Starlight Road, it was game over on the spot, except for one time in the top 4 matchup. I activated Starlight Road, and then there was a point where it was, what was it? We each had like 12 cards, 5 back rows, monsters on board, cards in hand, and I just, because I had to use Test Tiger, I had to go minus to get my plays off, and I was reading the wrong back rows. Unfortunately, it happens. I was reading the wrong back rows when I could have gone to a bestiary, and that was some of the misplays I made, was just like bad back row reads. Something I need to work on more based on how other players are playing, what is in the format, how to read the back rows, and then siding. I need to work on that too. But Starlight Road at 2 was a supreme choice. That being said, again, maybe it's just because confirmation bias in the hero decks I played. I definitely just want to put a My Body Shield back in the main, but I think I'll keep this deck as it is because, again, it played really well. We have 2 War Chariots. Pretty standard. I do side the 3rd. I oftentimes, especially yesterday, I found myself siding out War Chariots. 2 Bottomless, debatably best trap card. Just does everything that you want it to do in Edison. Get rid of strong monsters and banish them. And then the one-ofs. We have Call. We have Trap Dust Shoot. We have Mirror Force. And a Solemn Judgment. And that is the entire main deck. Nothing special beyond that. So again, I think it's pretty standard. It's just the Gores probably was, it definitely caught a lot of players off guard. Then going into the side deck, let's just do the extra deck. Just get it out of the way. I had 2 Stardust Dragons. I had to borrow because I don't actually own 2 Stardust. I only had 1. 2 Chimera Tech didn't come up at all. The 3 guys Zaris, and it did come up. There was one game where I actually went through all 3 guys Zaris. And then 3 Heraclinos. I think I only went to Herc twice, I want to say, throughout the day. But both times I end up winning because Herc is an incredible, incredible card. Incredible card. So then we will go on to the side deck. Let me move this over to the side. And my side deck, I also believe, could use some work. Some cards I overly relied on. For example, Hoplomys. I think nearly every matchup, again, maybe because, again, matchup bias, I played a lot of heroes. I played 2 heroes and some other decks, but I did end up going into Hop a lot in the side. If it was Black Wings, heroes, whatever, I went to Hop. Hedgeguard, a card that I also used a lot because I matched up against Lightsworn. There was a hero deck that did play the Honest, and then Black Wings. I went to Hedgeguard, and I got a lot of use out of Hedgeguard. Hedgeguard on the side was really good. 2 Cyber Dragon. I only sided in Cyber Dragon once. I didn't see it. I think Cyber Dragon, I would take this down to 1 simply as a Prisma target, to be honest. But Cyber Dragon itself was not particularly great. I also didn't draw it, and the one time I did draw it, and they had the Oppression, and I just had to scoop because it was my last card, and it was just kind of a waste. So, again, maybe some bias, but I think I'd keep it at 1, but I'd open up some room for a few other cards by taking out the second Cyber Dragon. Yeah, I didn't really like those. Played My Body. Again, My Body was really good, even in the side deck. I sided in a few times, and My Body definitely helped me out several times. Heavy Storm, I sided in. I don't know if I ever drew it. And if I did draw it, it just wasn't good. I don't remember. This could probably, I would want this to be Trap Stun, actually. Here was really good. I played 1 Terraforming, 2 Ancient Forest. Could be 3 Ancient Forest, but Terraforming also allows me to set it to act as a protector or deterrent against, 4 Starlight Road. If I do open up with the Ancient Forest Terraforming type of thing. Ancient Forest was insane. I sided this in 2-3 times perhaps, and it won me the match both times as soon as I used it. It was a terrific card. Pole Position, sided it for Monarchs, didn't play Monarchs. I don't even know. I might side this in against Lightsworn, I believe. But I didn't draw it. I did side it against Lightsworn just for like JD, Celestia, Lilo, whatever, but I did not draw it. War Chariot, I will always keep it aside. Trap Hole for the Black Wings, and actually this was a pretty good card. Torrent, it's Torrent. I'll keep it. Similar to Trap Hole, I suppose. I don't know if I ever drew it, though. And then Transmigration Prophecy, just some extra grave disruption. I think I also sided it in a couple times, but again, a non-factor, never drew it. Basically, the only cards that really mattered the entire day were these. I could have seen myself siding these in the majority of the matchups, and it was awesome. It was awesome. They worked out terrific. And also, Trap Hole was pretty good when I sided against Black Wings. It definitely did what it was supposed to do. So that was a side deck. And you can stop watching here if you're just here for the deck list. That is everything. I wish I would have taken notes, but I didn't. I'll try to remember the best I can. So, you know, I showed up to this event, didn't know anyone. Ended up meeting a lot of people, a lot of terrific people. Very good players showed up to this. Some War League players and definitely a few other just good local players. Showed up against like the one guy that I actually knew. Or showed up. Some guy that I actually knew in person showed up. I had no idea. His name was Will. I had no idea Will was going to be there. You know, we'd known each other for a couple of years, play at same locals. And we're talking. And sure enough, I match up against Will round one. I thought, what are the chances? And I knew Will's deck too, because we were talking beforehand. Will's playing Hero Beat, main decking Skill Drain, and siding Royal Oppressions. And I thought, there's no way. Because he's playing, you know, like a Skyscraper build. I thought, there's no way this is happening. We roll, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know he sided in Oppressions, and he lost because of the Oppression, which is funny because he, you know, he had Miracle Fusions and stuff. But essentially, I just drew, where did I get to? I think I got to a point where I'd sided in the Hopalamus, and I sat on Hopalamus probably for several turns that he just wasn't able to get over it, and it literally came down to the very last card in the last game where I had an Equesti on board. And he had, I think he had one card. He top decks a Miracle. He had one card besides Royal Oppression. Top decks Miracle Fusion. Uses it. I Oppression. He's at 800. I'm now at 12. Or he's at 400. I'm at 1200. So he can't use his Oppression. It's effectively locked him out from his own absolute zero. I had this on board with an Equesti or something like that. He draws, sets one. I attack. I didn't have this on board. I just sat on it. But I attack. He Hero Blasts. Gets back an Alias. And he does something. And then on my turn, I tried to do something else. And his top deck, after he got back to Alias, his very next top deck was Gemini Spark. Luckily, the card after Gemini Spark was like a second Royal Oppression. And I was able to just summon the Quarry and end up attacking for a game. So, very, very close game. And I apologize. I don't remember the exact way it went. But very close, very tough game. Definitely my toughest match of the day, in my opinion. Was just playing through Will. And I'll go ahead. I'll lay this back out so people have something to look at while I'm talking about this. Was just playing against Will's Hero Beat deck. And then round two, played against Flip Dragons, you know, with Rykos, things like that. Game one, he tried to go into Black Rose, and I did Starlight Road it. And that Starlight Road, or the Stardust Dragon, actually, kind of just took me all the way into success. There was one point I got a bit worried that I didn't Book of Moon his Dragon summon. He summoned a Red Eyes Wyvern, I didn't Book of Moon it on summon, and he banished it, special summon Red Eyes Darkness Metal, and then used that to special summon back his Black Rose. Luckily, I had a Book of Moon and a couple of back rows, but I was able just to take that Stardust Dragon to victory. Game one. And then game two, I had Closed Forest, or Ancient Forest, pardon me. I had Ancient Forest, and it allowed me to stop him from playing a defensive game because it flipped his monster up. It wasn't a flip effect, unfortunately, but it flipped his monster up, and then I got to go into Azaris and swing for 2,400 massive points of damage. So that was great, and I took that game pretty easily. Round three, I played against Diva Hero Beat with Crystal Seers and something like that. So Crystal Seer just had to help with the draw. Wasn't too bad. I won game one because I think I probably opened up Trap Dust Shoot, and it just kind of ended the game right there. He didn't. Obviously, I could play around all the cards after I got rid of whatever card I got rid of with Trap Dust Shoot, which made it kind of a non-game because that's what Trap Dust Shoot does. And then game two, he sided in. He just, again, players don't know how to play against Gladiator Beast. Sided in Pulling the Rug. A really cool guy. Obviously, you know, a good player, knew what he was doing. But he just tried to, I went to a Rediari and he tried to hit me with Pulling the Rug. I said, yeah, that's great, but this is a special summon. He goes, oh, shoot. So my Rediari went through, and I just kept that, I did not ever destroy that card with MST or Dust Tornado or Bestiary or whatever because I wanted to block off Gores if he ran it. So I was just destroying other back rows. I destroyed a back row the next turn. Turns out he sided in 2 Pulling the Rugs and opened up both of his Pulling the Rugs. Pulling the Rug does absolutely nothing against me. Nothing. So I won that game. Round 4 played against a Debris deck, or Plant, I guess, Quick Draw deck, who ended up getting 9th place. Very unfortunate for that player. And again, just go having ready Aries. Game 1, I went first, and by the end of that player's turn, by the end of his turn on turn 2, I was up 7 cards to 2. I forget exactly how it happened, and I forget exactly what cards I had, but I know I opened up with a Gladiator Beast and 5 set back row. And legitimately, by the end of either by the end of that person's second turn or by the end of my second turn, so third turn, I guess, I was up 7 cards to 2. I forget. Something like that. It was insane. And then game 2, they did, turn 1 play, Lone Fire, Titanial. And I had Ancient Forest again. I sided an Ancient Forest because I had Hamster Raikou. And Ancient Forest was amazing. Again, this matchup. Held off Titanial. I think they ended up attacking with Titanial. Died to Ancient Forest. At some point, I was able to make a Gazaris because it was Bestiary they attacked over. So I was able to go Darius, bring out Bestiary, Gazaris, tag out into double Radiari, banish both Lone Fires, and now there was no level 3s to go with Debris Dragon to make a Black Rose. And by that time they could make a Black Rose to blow up the board, I had a Starlight Road. So I'm not sure at any point in the game the Quick Draw player was ever ahead. There was one time they had 5 cards in hand and I had 3 or 4 cards total, but they had to discard a card to go into Quick Draw, sacrifice it for Caius, which I was able to stop. So they lost 3 cards from round 1 card. So that was really good. That was round 4. And then round 5 and round 6, I lost both of them. Pretty tough. Round 5, I played against Lightsworn player who, game 1, completely destroyed him. We go into game 2, and this player, at one point, I have a Lacour in hand, a Murmillo on board, with 2 War Chariots set. He has 1 set back row, 4 cards in hand, with 4 names in the grave. Summons JD, activates, I War Chariot. Summons second JD, activates, I War Chariot. Flips Beckoning Light, gets back both, discards his last 2 cards, both JD, summons both, activates effect for the 3rd time, summons now his 4th JD of the turn, and wins the game. It was unfortunate. But going into the next game, I think I opened up pretty well. I don't remember, but this guy opened up with Charge of the Light Brigade, milled 3 individual names. It was Lila, Gareth, and Lumina, I think is what he milled. Or Jane, Lumina, Gareth, actually. So also a bunch of 1-ofs. Had 4 or 5 names in his grave by the end of the first turn. And by the end of the second turn, had already milled Necrogardna. What was it? Necrogardna, Plague were also in the grave by the end of the second turn. So the mills were the best mills. Me being at the table was a complete non-factor, is what I'm trying to say. There was a point where he had a JD, Lila, and Lumina. I had a Gladiator Beast with Gores and Gores token, and the token was at 3,000. Again, 1 Honest was already in the grave. He had a Necrogardna in grave, had 1 card left in hand. I used my token to attack into his JD to destroy them both. And wouldn't you know, he has his second Honest in hand. Was his last card, was Honest. And then I just lost after that because I couldn't keep up. I think I had something, and then, I had 2 back rows that I could still play with. And then he was left with, Lila. I was able to attack with Lumina, but he was left with Lila on board. But his top deck was, he sided in a Breaker the Magical Warrior. He sided in Breaker the Magical Warrior, and that's what he top decked to out my other back row. So he's able to destroy 2 back rows without using JD, then use JD to blow up the board and attack for game. It was wildly unfortunate. Quite the sequence of events. And then we went into the last round. So I'm 4-1 going into the last round. I play against Black Wings. Game 1, he went first, I believe. Opened up Trap Dust Shoot and a set Legacy of Yada. And I opened up with a Gladiator Beast and 2 back rows. Well, he also has Heavy Storm in hand. So he was already up several cards. So as soon as he used Heavy Storm, I just scooped. I wasn't going to show any more cards. I probably assumed he played just a normal deck. Game 2, I took it. I don't remember what it was like. Game 3, he opened up Black Whirlwind. What did he have game 3? I don't remember exactly. He had some combination of Black Whirlwind, Brain Control, Heavy Storm, Sirocco. I think he had a Dark Arm Dragon too, but I want to say he banished it for Allure of Darkness. I can't quite remember. So I lost that. So I ended up 4-2 after starting at 4-0, which was a little disappointing, especially considering the last 2 rounds were kind of just like, hey, here's a bunch of one-ofs and incredible mills. But I ended up getting 7th place, so I did make the top 8 cut. And I actually replayed the Blackwing guy. So the Blackwing player that I just lost to got 2nd. And I'm sorry, I forget his name. I do forget his name. He's a good player, for sure. So he got 2nd, I got 7th. We play again. I go first this time, and I opened up with Trap Dust Shoot, and I think I set bottomless. So what he did to me the last time is what I did to him this time. I just Trap Dust Shoot, and game 1 ended very fast because at some point I went to Gyzaris, and he just scooped. Or maybe I went into Herc and then negated like a Brain Control, and then it was game over. In the second game, I don't remember anything about the next game, or maybe even 2 games. I forget. No, I lost the second game. Game 3. What happened game 3? Game 3, I think I set Dust Tornado, pass. I think I opened up all my cards. What did happen? I set Dust Tornado and maybe summon Bestiary, pass. Somehow Bestiary got in the graveyard. I don't remember how. But what happened was he opened up double Black Whirlwind, Shura, searches Kalut and Bora, sets 1. I end phase Dust Tornado, his set card. My turn, I do some play that I don't remember exactly what happened, but I'm able to go into a Gyzaris. I go into Bestiary, which is able to blow up Black Whirlwind. I'm able to do something else. I don't remember what it was. I got into Gyzaris, blow up his other 2 cards, attack with that, tag out into, I believe, a Rediari and a Laquari, and then set 2 back rows. So I have 5 cards left, and he's now down to 4 cards, despite opening up with double Black Whirlwind. And it was just a very slow back and forth game against his Blackwings deck that I ended up taking, even though he opened up with double Black Whirlwind. And I forget exactly what happened after that. I don't quite remember. But yeah, he definitely opened up double Black Whirlwind, and I was able to play through all of his Blackwing stuff because Bestiary into Gyzaris is pretty insane. You know, there's a lot of good cards in Edison, but no deck has the accessibility that Gladiator Beast deck had. That Gladiator Beast have of a Gyzaris type card. Dad's good, but you can't go into Dad the way you can go into Gyzaris. And then top 8, Blackwings. Tough game. This was the game where there was 1 point. We both had like a monster on board, 5 back rows, 4 cards in hand. And it was just like, what is the best way to navigate this game, I guess, to get the most out of my cards? He had a Mirror Force that I wasn't reading as a Mirror Force. I just thought, it must be the last Icarus. But again, because the way he was playing, I should have known it was not Icarus Attack. But I just played it as if it was Icarus Attack. And I ended up losing out hard to Mirror Force some way or another. And I forget how. But I lost game 1, and then game 2 just spiraled out of control. And I don't remember how. But that was the matchup. Again, that was the entire day. And that's what I ended up doing. We didn't play for 3rd, 4th place because I was lower ranked than the guy who got 3rd place. They just gave me 4th. We didn't play that one out for 3rd, 4th. So I just got it. But hey, thank you guys very much for watching. If you don't think Gladiator Beast is a real deck, you are mistaken. Try it out. This deck is incredible. Have a wonderful day, and bye.